Everyone, I'm Denise Love, and here's a little preview of what we're going to be doing today. So let's get started. So we're going to do some intuitive painting today, and I'm going to show you how we're going to turn a great big page of some fun painting into some beautiful little abstracts. And I want to pick a color palette that maybe I don't always use. I like to challenge myself when I'm doing stuff like this and kind of step outside my box a little and not do the same thing that I always do. Or maybe if I'm stuck for, say, like a color palette, this will give me new ideas and new directions to think about and possibly lead me to bigger collections. So I have the color cube, and this is a fun box of color palettes. And what I have done is pulled out a color palette today that I want to work with. Sometimes I make it fun on myself and I do a blind pull and just pull a card out, and then I'm like, okay, this is what I'm creating with today. But for this video, I wanted to work in a color palette that I thought, ooh, this is so pretty, as I was just randomly looking through the cards. And so this is what I'm going to go for. It's like a really dark purple and then a pretty kind of butter yellow and a really nice kind of rose color and maybe a lighter lavender and like a charcoal color. And I've got my Kuretake Gansai Tambi Watercolors. This is the Art Nouveau set, and I have pulled some colors out of this box that I thought went so beautifully with this color palette. And you know, my goal with the color palettes, and then I pulled some yummy liquid graphite for the gray, because I like working with liquid graphite, which is basically liquefied pencil, but I just love it. And what I like about pulling a color palette is stepping outside my comfort zone, but I'm not trying to be exact. Like, I'm trying to work within this color palette, but if I don't have this exact shade of deep purple, that's okay. I'm just trying to get close in the color palette and then go with it and be free with it. I'm not trying to be matchy exact, because then you put a lot of pressure on yourself and you don't move past, oh no, I don't have the right colors. So I'm just trying to get close. And so I think that's pretty close. So that's the color palette that I'm working in. And what we're going to do is paint a great big piece of paper in my favorite way to paint. And I'm using a large sheet of the Arches cold press watercolor paper, 140 pound. And I like this paper because it's cotton, and cotton paper generally allows you to work with the paper a little bit longer than, say, a student grade paper, but use whatever you have on hand. This project doesn't really matter with the paper, because what we're going to do is paint the great big piece of paper, and then we're going to cut it up strategically into lovely little abstracts. So I like to paint this way because I'm not thinking right up front about composition. I'm not thinking about where stuff is going. I'm thinking about fun. Let's have fun while we paint. So let's get started here. I've got some water over here. I've got a couple of brushes I might pull out. This is a Princeton Neptune number 4, and I'm going to wet the paints with a little bit of water and get them activated. And then, just to kind of let you know as we go, I consider white, black, gold, silver, any metallic, I consider those neutrals. So those are always up for, you know, whatever we want to do with them. The first layer I put on might just be an all over color wash, might be splotches of color, might be just anything that we can think of. The second layer, because this is what makes abstracts so beautiful, is the layering that we do. So the second layer, I might come back in here with marks and stencils and stuff like that. And so we are going to start off, I'm going to start off with watercolor, and then you can start off with whatever kind of suits your fancy. And I'm just going to be free here with where I'm putting this color. It's not got any purpose at the moment besides getting color onto our page. And if you are looking at a white page and you're like, oh no, it's white, I've got that white page paralysis, I don't know where to go from here, start off with some mark making or just throwing some color down. So I've got a pencil here that I could do some mark making with to get us started also. And this is just a Pitt graphite matte pencil in a 14B. I like that very dark 14. I like the B's. I like the higher the number, the better. It gives me nice dark pencil lines. And I'm just going to do some mark making. It's not supposed to be any type of formation at the moment that's going to matter to our later composition. Just gets us working on the page, loosening up, getting a little bit freer with where maybe we put stuff down, and then let's just go in with the next color. Look how pretty that is. This is such a pretty color. This purple is Old Mauve, and this is Ecru Beige, and this pink is Potter's Pink, and then this one is Mauve Taupe. So that's just kind of letting you know there the colors that I'm using here in these Kuretake Gansai Tambi set. I love these watercolors. They're currently my very favorite to play in. And you notice right here where this water dripped really heavy, when this paint gets kind of damp, not super sopping wet, not dry, but damp, if you'll put some extra water on that paint, you will make it kind of bloom out into some interesting texture. And so as I'm laying color down, before these have a chance to dry, I might want some of that texture in my watercolor. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and lay some extra water in areas that are still kind of damp. Once they dry, it doesn't really do the same. It gives you a different look, so you can still get marks, but it's not quite the same. All right, now I'm just going down the row of what I've picked. And you know, you can do this project with any kind of paint that you have. You can do acrylic paint. You can do acrylic inks. I particularly love it with acrylic inks. Any kind of watercolor you've got works really well. I'm just using what happens to be my current favorite supply, because that's what makes these fun, when you can experiment with a supply that you're already kind of enjoying. And then don't be afraid to come in and make some marks with the brush that you're working with and give us some pattern. Maybe we can get like do the tip, and maybe we can get some different mark making going with the tip of that. That's fun. I like the circles. I also like dots, so maybe we can come in here and do some different mark making with some color, because keep in mind, this is just the first layer. We're going to put stuff on top of this and just see like what interesting stuff can we get. Oh, and then you can look at it and think, do I need any more of a color? Have I covered something up? Do I want to let it dry and lay some color on top of it after it's dry a little bit? So different things to think about there. Super fun. I like what's going on over here. So I'm just laying some color in. And then what we might do is let this dry a bit and then come on with the next layer of something fun. So the next layer, I'm probably going to do some acrylic paints and stencils. So I'm going to let this dry and I'll be right back. So before we do that, I just remembered I did not get the darkest color from our thing in here. So I'm going to use liquid pencil for that. And I'm just going to start strategically kind of moving this pencil around, maybe doing some mark making, maybe taking my paintbrush and wheeling that color and doing some other stuff with it. Totally glad I remembered that before I got too far along with the next thing I was thinking. And I could have done this dark color with the stenciling. I could have done that. That would have been okay. I could also pick a different brush if I wanted. And this is my Winsor Newton No. 4 calligraphy brush, but what I like about it is I can move color around a little bit less predictably, like we can make it do some weird stuff. It's a brush I really like to paint with. It's a lot more organic looking than like a regular quill brush. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that right there, super fun. So you see how we can just play, and it's not all about what we've got going on. We're just not worried about it, and we're like, what can we do with this? Can do some mark making. And I like doing this with like my non-dominant hand because I'm less likely to get perfect marks and stuff. Now we're getting a little bit of some fun grunge with this pencil. So that's kind of fun. That's a little different than if I used like a charcoal colored paint. I feel like that pencil really gives us some grunge. All right, so bet you thought when we started with this color palette we were going to get something light and pretty. And I was kind of thinking light and pretty, but you know, as you're painting, you just got to go with the flow. Now I'm going to let it dry and pull out some stencils. Okay, so I've let this mostly dry. And right now, you know, I'm kind of doubting it. I know you're doubting it. Like, what is this girl doing? Got to push past the doubt stage and start adding stuff on top of that. So I like working with stencils lately, so we're going to work with stencils, because once you figure out what your favorite things to do with art, do more of that. So I like working with stencils lately. I like taping stuff down and peeling tape. I like cutting up art, so I start every piece of art now with the intention of I can cut this up. So I don't have to worry about it being a masterpiece. I don't have to worry about messing stuff up. I don't get upset when something doesn't work out, because I'm thinking I can just cut that up into something else that's going to be amazing. And you kind of shift your whole mind focus into I can sit here and have fun and it's okay. And so I've got lots of little stencils here that I like to play in. I've put out as close as I could get, because again, my purpose is to get close to the color palette, not to be completely exact. So I do see that I have left out a yellow now that we're talking. So let's just pull out. So I've got, yeah, let's just pull out a color. I completely left it out. How did I do that? 2 purples. Oh, I put white out. So I'm just using some Liquitex Basics Naples Yellow, light pink. I pulled out Dioxine Purple, a white, titanium white, and ivory black to be that dark shade. And then I like this ash violet in this Charvin paint, so I have pulled that out also because it's in that pretty kind of lavender feel. And I'll be using some artist sponges, and these are basically they're called artist sponges if you Google that. They're basically little round sponges that are about that size, and I just take scissors and cut those up, and they are perfect for stenciling stuff. And I like getting stencils from Stampers Anonymous, the Tim Holtz stamps stencils. I like Stencil Girl. I look on Amazon and get stuff. I just have a variety of here that I've collected over the years. And I am just going to start stenciling and just layering some stuff. And I've got several of these dry stamps. You want dry stamp and thicker paint for the stencils to really work out as good as they're going to do. And then I don't like doing like the whole stencil exactly in this big square. What I like to do is just strategically put the paint in. So I actually would have wanted more than that there, but look how cool that looked. Whoa, totally love that. And I just start working it. Again, at this point, I'm still not worried about composition, where I'm putting, look how good that looks. Oh, still not focused on what my end product is going to be. Right now, I'm focused on, let's just put this down and get excited with what it looks like. Oh my gosh, let's just get excited with what we get, because how much more fun is it if you can be a little goofy and have a little bit of fun while you're putting this paint down? Man, I truly love that. Like, that would be pretty, maybe coming back on top, possibly with like the dark color. So let's see. I really like these little lines, and we can do this with paintbrushes. I mean, I certainly could have taken like an old credit card and I could have put paint on it and did that mark that I just got. I could do little hash marks with anything, a pencil, pastels, whatever, you know, whatever you've got that you want to make with. You can make little marks like this yourself. You don't have to layer it with stencils. You just get creative. I happen to like working this way currently, but a month from now, if I made the same video, I might have different things that I was having fun painting with and being obsessed about. So I just go with whatever feels good at the moment that I'm painting. And what feels good this month might be something different that feels good. Oh, I love that. Maybe something completely different next month. I've also got some of this yummy kind of mineral paint, and I was just looking, this color right here is like a light pink that could be in that same color palette possibly. Ooh, or the white, there's like a white mineral paint. I kind of like these mineral paints because they dry really matte. I'm going to use that anyway. I like it. I like it. I like it. And maybe I want some rows of dot things. So let's just see. Ooh, that's pretty. I had a lot of too much paint on my thing probably. But still, look how pretty that is. I don't even care. I don't even worry about it. Ooh. Oh, super fun. Okay, just throw that sponge in some water when you've got, you know, both kind of sides done. And then I just pull another sponge as I keep going. I kind of want these numbers in there. It's kind of like we could do this and do little grungy patches. And maybe the purples. I might mix the purples. Why not? Kind of feel like I just want some patches of an implication there. I don't want the whole that's exactly what I wanted. Super fun. I just want like a little patch of something there. I don't have to be able to tell it's a number. It's not even going the right direction as I'm looking at that, but that's okay. I just want something as an interesting layer. Oh, see that right there? Love that. And I'm noticed in what I'm doing, I'm kind of, not purposely, but I'm skipping the middle. I'm like going left and right. So look at the piece and think, is there any piece I'm skipping that I don't intend to skip here? And go back and add some stuff in. Look how fun that is. I know you're looking at it thinking, what is she doing? Ooh, you know what else I like? I like circles. And I like circles maybe in some white. Because remember, I think white, black, gold, those are all neutrals. This is called script circles, I think. It's one of my favorite, but I don't think it's still available. But any circle stencils, I like the looks that little circle spots give you. See that right there? Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness. I can guarantee you I have fun when I'm painting, because if you can be a little goofy when you're painting, you're not so worried about where stuff's going. You have some really good paint days and you discover some really good stuff. I used to sit at my art table and just get so mad because I wanted some masterpiece to come out of whatever I was creating and it just wasn't happening. And now I don't sit down with that intention. I sit down with that intention of playing, discovering, figuring out new things. It's not all about what I end up with that's important. Oh, see, I really love this thing here. And it's a Stencil Girl stencil. I'm kind of thinking, this purple is very purple, but I'm kind of thinking maybe a few of these in here would be pretty. Because it's almost like a little bit of a block wall. It's very interesting. Oh, see, pretty. That's exactly what I wanted. I used this on another piece that I did a while back, and I had a pretty little bit of yellow shining through, and I'm like, oh, totally one of my favorite new stencils. Oh, look at that. See? Look at that. Okay, I love what we got going on here. Now at this point, I could go ahead and start scoping out some pieces to cut out, and then we could top off and finish with some extra details. And I think that's what I might do. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the paint to the side, maybe move the stencils out of the way. Let's peel the tape and then decide how we might cut these up. And I didn't put tape on here to give me an edge, but if you do this and you have an edge on it that's pretty and you love your piece just like it is, like you're like, oh, I created that and I love it, and you don't want to cut it up, don't cut it up. Because I'm actually looking at this thinking, dang, that looks pretty good just like it is. And I might not want to cut it up, but for this practice, I actually do want to cut it up. But look how beautiful that is. It's actually really beautiful just like it is. Check it out. We can now kind of look at it from other directions and see, you know, what do we end up with? Are there any areas that we're like, oh, love this so much? Maybe. Let me grab my viewfinders because this is my favorite thing to do. I love to cut stuff up. So even if I'm thinking, oh, that's nice, I'm still thinking, man, I want to cut that up. I think I'm going to go the way I painted it. Let's start here. But these are just paper. You can use watercolor paper, cut in strips, and pick a size you like, and then we can now start to kind of view different areas. Like, look at this right here. Now I'm looking for composition. I'm looking for areas that are super interesting that I'm like, whoa, I love that. Like that right there, I love that. Now I'm starting to think, what does make the best kind of piece here? Oh, I'm kind of loving that a lot right there actually. So this is watercolor paper cut into 2-inch strips, and this is 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. So you can very easily frame that in like a 6x6 frame. But you could also cut like a piece out of watercolor paper and start looking. Look at these, and this is more like 3-inch by 3-inch. And you could start doing little micro pieces, because once you cut a few big pieces out of here, you're going to be left over with pieces that you can use for collages, pieces that you could use for micro pieces of art, and little mini pieces of art that you could send to people in cards or have as filler pieces for a collection. This is 5-inch by 7-inch pre-cut mat, and this is like a 3-inch by 5-inch pre-cut mat. And I like using pre-cut sizes sometimes, especially if you do gallery shows and stuff like that, because you could then have these in sizes that a customer could easily go frame. But you don't have to do that. If you have like an elongated piece that you're like, oh, I love this right here, you know, and then I want like a little trio of long pieces, you could totally do that too. So it's really, and look at this right here. Oh, I'm kind of loving that right there. I love that the dark is kind of coming in the frame. I like that there's things that are framing it out. I like that there's nothing sitting right here in the center of our piece. And coming over here, I still like this area over here quite a bit, kind of like here. There's nothing directly in the center. Now I'm thinking off-centered stuff, rule of thirds, where maybe some action's happening up here and down here in the bottom third, and maybe there's something coming into the frame, but there's nothing sitting smack dab in the center. And you know, the more you can look around, change the direction and see, okay, see, look right there, that right there. I like how this is here. I like how this is coming in. I like how there's some movement. There's something up here coming in. Whoa! Ooh, I love this one because we've got some yumminess going on there. Okay, so I'm going to search out my favorites and make them, turn it all around before you get a final decision in there. Ooh, look at that one. Ho-ho! I like this because the overall color is a little different than the outside pieces there. And you've still got this little bit of dark coming in, and you've got quite a bit. Oh, I just love that whole center section there. So I'm going to go ahead, decide on the ones that I like, and cut this into pieces. Look at that one. So beautiful. I decided to go ahead, cut one right out of the middle, is what it is. And I think that this is going to use a little bit of gold on top. And then I'm going to search out if there's anything else that I love, and I don't think I've got any in the same size. So in this case, oh wait, I do. Look at that one. Oh, let's take that one. Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this one right here, I think. Oh, look at that. And now if we set that in our mat, we can see how pretty that would be framed up. And that's why I like cutting it slightly larger so it'll fit right in your mat. Oh, look at that one. These look so good. And then as a little pair, check that out. Oh, I feel like we're just getting our little bit of grunge and a little bit of pretty color all at the same time. So I've still got stuff that I can cut or use as collage paper, because check this out. These could be, oh, you know what else I love to do? Oh my gosh, I love to do this so much. I'm going to show you one of my favorite things to do. So I've got these fun little heart punches, and basically what you do is pick your favorite part of that and punch these out. And then I like to make little gift tags, or I use these as little art prompt cards with all the art that I cut out, and then on the back I put like a little prompt. Use a mark you've never used before, tight circles. You could just have random bits of art, or you could have on the front what that prompt was, lines of dots and things. And then these are little art prompt cards that you can put in a fun little like dessert dish on your art table and be like, okay, I'm feeling stuck, let's pull an art prompt. And you can be like, add some squares. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Look how pretty that is. So these are super fun, cut into shapes like this. And if you make things like jewelry, or you've got a product that you sell, these are Fiskars that makes a lot of these. There's a couple of brands out there. And that's a 2-inch heart. But look how pretty those are. This is like my most favorite thing to make, is cut these out. So excellent thing to do with small bits. I've got circles, I've got hearts, I've got an octagon. I have got lots of shapes. And see, we could still get a smaller piece out of here, or we could use this for collage paper. So you can keep this and use these for collages. Like, right, ooh, look at that right there. That's pretty. I like it because this is on the upper third. There's something dark coming into the frame. Ooh, and if we off center that darkness, like right there. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so let's just cut this one, and then we'll save the rest of it for collage stuff. Oh man, look how good that one looks. Oh, super good. And I don't think I've got enough for another cutout, but look at all this collage paper now that we've got. So don't throw these pretty bits away. Keep these for little punch outs, little mini cards. Oh, this is my favorite thing to do with these. And then look at what we've got for the finished pieces, and then evaluate them and look at them. Do they need any extra marks? Do we need to come back on here with some metallics, which is what I'm gonna do? So let's get our gold out. My very favorite gold is my Kuretake gold mica paste, and this paste is it's a calligraphy paste. I got it in one of my monthly art boxes, because I get one of those monthly art deliveries where you get random supplies. I love getting those. And this came in a holiday box, and it's my very, very, very favorite supply now, because it's a gold mica paste. And man, is it amazing and shiny and vibrant. It also comes in an ink, so I might use the ink to do a little writing a lot of times. So if you like writing on your pieces, it's good for that. I'm going to use some punchinella. And punchinella is another stencil type thing, and you can get stencils that are called punchinella. This is actually punchinella. This is the metal ribbon that is left over when they cut stencils out of it, and it's my very favorite thing to use on art. So I just got a dry sponge, and I'll come in here with some gold. Look at that. And then it's the shiniest stuff you've ever seen. And what piece of art can't be improved with a little bit of bling bling? Oh my gosh, I love this stuff so much. This makes me the happiest camper when I have a little bit of gold on a piece of art like that. Oh my goodness. Oh, just completes it for me. Look at that, and we can see the shine. And you know, when you're far back, you might not see that extra element coming out, but when you get close, you're like, ooh, what is that doing when the light hits it? It gets exciting. Man, I do love that. Oh, love, love punchinella. Somebody made a comment on one of my art videos on YouTube saying that I made punchinella sound so exciting. She thought it could solve all the world's problems. And I'm like, oh, maybe it could. Punchinella is some fun stuff. Oh, look at that. And then we got that pretty shine. Oh, love, love. And let's say you like making lines and dots, and maybe you're liking some, I love Posca pens for extra marks and lines. And see, we could do like some extra little scribble if we wanted to. We could do little dots. So then you just want to look at your piece and decide, does it need anything else? Is it finished? Could it use a little extra excitement or dots or line work or anything like that anywhere in here? And then just decide, like, what is the finishing bit that you need? With the Posca pen, I generally like just a little tiny bit of dot work. It's just whimsical. You get in close and you're like, ooh, look at that extra fun detail there that I wasn't expecting. And it's just that little bit of extra to me that kind of finishes pieces off. So I might look at that and think, well, let's put strategic spots in 2 or 3 areas before I call it finished. And then I'm like, ooh, I like the extra detail there. So that's up to you. Do some fun mark making, finish the piece off in whatever way that you're kind of thinking is going to finish it off. But check these out. Oh, and here's the color palette that inspired us. We did kind of veer a little bit from the exact colors. If you're into color mixing and you want to get like right on the money with these, perfect kind of project to do that. But as far as being inspired by that color palette and something I've never used before, this kind of fit that bill. And look how fun our pieces came out today. Oh, I hope you have fun trying out some intuitive painting. Do it on a big sheet, cut out the art and see, you know, what can you get. Don't worry and stress. It's like the nicest low stress paint day that you're going to have, but it's going to end up being like a fantastic paint day because, like, look at these pieces that we ended up with. I really love this one. All right, I'll see you next time.